Take back your soul. This is another transmission from Mahadeva here at ThunderWizard.com headquarters, where you find the world's only unified spiritual energy system at ThunderWizard.com. Get ready, because here I come. Hello, fellow light beings. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a meditation that will release your 3D attachments. So stay tuned for the whole video. I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'll try not to make it too long, but I'll take a little bit of time to explain how emotional attachments form in the third dimension and what we can do to not only release the attachments, but to regain the energy that was put into those attachments. All right, so a couple of things we should talk about. I've shared this with you before, but now we're going to apply it practically. So again, guys, this is why it's important to do the practices. We're going to do a practice today in this video. And you'll be able to practically, physically see and experience all of the philosophical things that I'm talking about. So before we get into that, though, it is good to appeal to the intellect, because when the intellect feels like it knows what's going on, it's easier then to commit to do something. So I'm going to engage your intellect for a little bit to help you understand how this all works. All right, so we already know that in the third dimension is dominated by survival instincts. We would call this a lower vibrational frequency. It is this lower vibrational frequency that actually keeps us in the third dimension. We become so programmed to believe that we need to survive, and if we don't engage in these survival instincts, like, comparing ourselves to others, assuming that everybody has it in for us, being jealous of others, competitive, violent, hunting prey, running away from dangerous animals and dangerous people. This is all part of that frequency in the third dimension, which has to do with staying trapped in this 3D world. Now there's something that happens that lots of times people mistake for positive feelings. This is a huge thing with codependence. Codependent people actually misinterpret their feelings of fear and their feelings of needing to be taken care of in the third dimension, their survival instincts. They actually misinterpret these feelings oftentimes as love or empathy. This is why there's this thing called super empaths, people who actually take pride in talking about how they are more empathic than others. And yet one of the main characteristics of a super empath is they get involved with very narcissistic, abusive people. And so on the one hand, they'll say they have this gift where they can know the truth of what anybody's thinking and feeling, and yet for some reason they always end up with these really abusive people. And one would ask, well, if you really understood people's emotional true nature, how did you end up in this place? Well, it's because I'm so empathic. But the truth is that lots of times people mistake empathy for actual selfish desire to survive. And what ends up happening is that we become fixated, well, in this case, in relationships, we become fixated on another person, and we somehow get the the message that that person has what we need to survive. So not too long ago, somebody came on the channel, and to their credit, they were asking me questions. Because I was making a video about living your greatest desire, that your only reason for being incarnated was to fulfill all of your desires. And this person was saying, well, my desire is to be with this specific person. And it was somebody who had unmistakably shown a lack of desire, that they did not want to be with them. So what this person wanted me to do was to teach them how to manifest their desire, which was to be with this specific person. So that is a misinterpretation of their own feelings, because the feeling behind that is that this person thought she needed to be with that one person or she wouldn't survive. Now, she's not consciously thinking about survival. It's just her desire for that specific person was so overwhelming, she needed to do anything possible, short of doing magical spells, to get that person to be with them, because the assumption is, if I have that person, then I'll be okay. Meaning, if I don't have that particular person, I won't be okay. Whereas if you really are connected with yourself, you can want to be with somebody and feel sad that they don't want to be with you. But if you truly are empathetic, meaning you empathize, it means to feel within. If you're feeling within another person, then you want what's going to make them happy, even if it means you not getting what you want. So true empathy says, I want what makes you happy, not what makes me happy. So if we were to ask that person, she would probably say that she felt overwhelming love for this one. In fact, she did say that. She had overwhelming love for this one person. And that is a misunderstanding of actually very regressed, infantile, childlike survival need for the mother and the father. Women with daddy issues, that's what's going on. They really want, it's not so much that they want to be with that older person. It's more that they want to be loved and nurtured and taken care of like an infant is from their parents. So emotionally, we become attached when we want something. Now, I'm taking an extreme example, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. And the easiest way to find out what your attachments are is to look at your resentments. Who you're angry at, especially if you've been angry at somebody for months, years, or even decades. Easy one is the resentment that you have toward your parents or your siblings. So it is true that it's very possible that your parents and or your siblings were very hurtful and abusive and did things to you that you didn't deserve. But unfortunately, the reality is that if you're still upset and hurt by it, it means that you want something from them. Because the truth is, there's no shortage of people, hundreds, thousands of people who have not given you what you wanted or were unkind to you or rejected you, that you don't even remember. And the reason why you don't remember is because you would say, well, I don't care about them, which really means you don't want anything from them. You only get hurt and angry from the people you want something from. And the idea from the fifth dimensional perspective is, since we are so empowered internally by being connected to the consciousness of the universe, we don't need anybody else more than we need to be connected to ourselves. This is called integrity. This is why, some politicians, if they're given a bribe, they will refuse it. A good cop versus a bad cop. A crooked cop is going to take the bribe because they don't love themselves as much as they love the idea of outside things giving them something. Money symbolizes love of the mother, and of course you can buy things with it. But when things outside of you become more important than your own integrity, it means that you don't believe that the universe will provide for you and take care of you. So we want to get to that place, and it's okay that we're not there. This is part of the 3D virtual reality game, is to become aware of that and overcome that. So the first thing that I recommend that you do is to go onto this channel and do the 12 steps to 5D, and specifically take a look at the 4th step. So the 4th step teaches you how to write down specifically who you're angry at, why you're angry at them, and what you wanted from them. So, a real simple one is your wife cheats on you with your cousin in Vegas and, ends up leaving you for him. Well, that's pretty obvious. You wanted her love. She didn't give it to you, and that hurt you. And now, instead of mourning and moving past it, you're still thinking about it. 5 years, 10 years later, you're still full of rage at what they did. And the ironic thing is that when you're angry at somebody who's harmed you and you want to make them pay, it really means that you want them to love you. Now, I know that you don't see that. You're so full of anger because your perceived survival has been disrupted. But the truth is that if you're still thinking about somebody like that, it means you still want them to love you. So we want to be in a place where we can learn how to disconnect. Now, whenever you want something from somebody else, you've given them your energy. I've used the example of I called her Myrtle. Myrtle, who at the PTA meeting, right? So Myrtle would show up to the PTA meeting and she would bring cookies. Now, she enjoyed being at the PTA meeting because she got to socialize with people. She was very lonely and she wanted friends, so she would hang out. And she thought if she brought cookies to the PTA meeting, that all of the other parents would then praise her, say, "Oh my gosh, Myrtle is so wonderful. Myrtle, thank you so much for all these cookies. Here's my phone number. Do you want to be friends?" And to her dismay, she showed up to the PTA meeting and she put out the cookies, and people would go, "Oh, great, cookies," and they would eat it, and maybe somebody said, "Who brought these?" "Myrtle." "Oh, great, thanks, Myrtle." They ate the cookies, and that was the end of that. Myrtle didn't get a phone number, didn't get more than a couple of thank yous, and nobody paid attention to her. So she came back next week, and this time she brought freshly baked store-bought cookies from the bakery. They're still warm, just came out of the oven, boxed them up. She took them to the PTA meeting, puts them on there. This time people are going to appreciate her and give her the love that she wants, and they open it up and they go, "Oh my God, they can smell that. Oh, it's freshly baked. Myrtle again?" "Yeah, Myrtle." And they just gobbled up the chocolate chip cookies and went on with their business, and nobody once again said, "Myrtle, what's your phone number? I want to talk to you about let's get together." And so she's starting to get mad. She's starting to get hurt, and she's starting to get resentful. Nobody is thanking her for going out of her way. So this time she's going to get noticed. So she goes to the store and buys the cookie dough and makes it herself, and maybe adds a little cinnamon to it, and it's still piping hot. She times it so that she comes in just a tiny bit late so that everybody sees her, and she puts the cookies down, and "Oh my God, Myrtle, these are such great cookies," and then nobody pays attention to her. And she's getting really hurt and really furious. So she decides this time she's going to make the cookies from scratch herself. So she spends all week finding the perfect recipe, taste testing and finding, learning how to make it perfect. She makes the most unbelievable chocolate chip cookies ever, and she brings them in, again, a few minutes late so everybody notices her. She puts it on the table, makes a big thing. I made these from scratch, my own recipe, and people gobble it up and they say, wow, that's really great. And the same thing, nobody pays any attention to her. Nobody asks for her phone number. She is now so angry. And she starts to tell her friends, who also get together and badmouth other people that aren't doing what they want. And she starts saying how these people, I do everything for them. And I don't ask for much. But what I do, I expect to have something. And she's just so upset and so angry because she feels so victimized. She feels so abused. She feels like everybody just takes and takes and takes. And she says, I just give and I give and I give and nobody gives back to me. And then somebody comes along and says, so you really weren't making the cookies to please other people and make them happy. You were making the cookies so that you could get them to love you and to get them to spend time with you. She says, no, that's not it. Well, then why are you so upset? Because I always give myself to other people and nobody gives back to me. But the reality is that every time that she made those cookies, she was giving her energy away to other people. And of course, the people didn't know that. Now, maybe some people in her life, no doubt she's got other relationships. She's been in relationships with men who just used her for her cookies or used her for sex or used her for money and then threw her away as soon as somebody else came along or when they got bored and tired. Or when she started then asking for something, or worse yet, exploding on them and saying, I do everything for you. And they're like, I'm out of here. Maybe she has actually been taken advantage of, but she's not aware that she started the process by giving away her energy to people in the hopes of getting something back. So this is how we become emotionally attached in a negative way. And now to understand how that works, why this is dangerous to our fifth dimensional ascension, if we recall what my ET friends have told me about how time works, and specifically like how people become sick, how some people, you could have two people of the same age. In fact, you could have twins. They are born with the exact same DNA, born in the exact same life circumstances. And 65 years later, one is sick and looks old and can't function, arthritis and all the old people stuff. And the other 65-year-old twin is healthy, vibrant, happy, athletic. What's the difference? So we have the experience that time flows from past to future. And I've learned that that's not how it works. That time actually doesn't exist. It's not that we flow through time. It's that time flows through us. And we are like we're balancing on a beach ball. And the beach ball is sort of, in like this cup of water or something like that, and it's rolling backwards. So we're rolling on it to stay feeling like we're moving forward, but in fact we're staying in one place. And then time moves through us backwards. So as time hits us, what ends up happening is that we manifest a reality emotionally. So the moment, so we can take one moment at a time. The moment where Myrtle shows up with the cookies and she puts them down on the table. Now she's put all of her emotions into these cookies, and literally as people are eating the cookies, they are consuming her emotional energy. And so that moment she becomes attached as she's watching the people eat the cookies, literally devouring her energy. and she's waiting for something to happen. She becomes attached in that moment. That moment manifests in front of her and then passes through her, and she watches that moment go away, because we can only see the past, we can't see the future. So the past is watching present moments as they go away from us. Now, as those moments move away from us in the past, if we're emotionally attached, meaning we want something, we want somebody's reaction, we want them to love us, we want something. We want fame, happiness, money, I don't care what it is that you want. You are wanting something back. In that moment that you want something back, that moment then recedes because it's now the past. Your energy, because you're attached to it, gets pulled out of you. So as you're standing there, right, and time is moving backwards through you, it's pulling you forward, but you're stuck in one place, and so you get stretched. Your actual energy gets stretched. It pulls you like taffy or gum. And isn't that what age looks like? If you look at somebody who looks old, it looks like life has just stretched them. You know, their skin is stretched. I mean, literally, their skin is wrinkled and stretched. You know, I've got a little bit of a turkey neck myself, right? So they even look like they've been stretched by something. Well, the thing that's stretching you is the attachment to a moment where you want something back from somebody else, and you've given your energy away in order to get something. And it pulls you as the past goes further and further away. It just pulls your energy out of you. That's why you feel drained. That's why you're sick. That's why you're upset and angry and all of that. So this is how you become attached. So the only way out is to learn how to let go of the attachment, which means taking full responsibility for what it is you wanted. This isn't easy to do. You know, again, if you go to Myrtle and you say, and Myrtle is whining and complaining and furious because none of the PTA people pay any attention to her or want to do anything with her, and all she does is give, and all they do is take, and somebody goes, so wait a second, so you're making these cookies so that you can get something from them instead of just doing it because it makes you happy? She's going to go, no, that's not it. She's going to deny it. She's going to put a lot of energy into protecting her right to feel angry that somebody isn't giving her what she wants. Because if she takes full responsibility, then she'll have to accept that her desire to make the cookies from the beginning was 100% selfish. And in fact, her desire going into it was to take from other people. But she's presenting herself as somebody who gives herself to other people. The sad part is that Myrtle believes that her worth comes from what she does for others. And of course, she was taught this as a little kid. As a baby, in fact, she learned that if she wanted mommy and daddy to love her, which is the only time that it's actually understandable and normal and acceptable for us to want something from somebody else without giving back. The only time that is acceptable is when we're infants. So that means every single person in the world, no matter how old they are, if they're older than an infant, if they're older than, say, 5, 6, or 7 years of age, even then, let's say older than 8 or 9 years of age, anybody over that age who is wanting something from other people because they don't have love for themselves within themselves, they've completely missed the whole point of being human, which is to become aware that our value comes from simply existing. Your value comes from simply existing. And this is what infants are taught. Infants are taught that from the mother, if assuming this is a healthy relationship, the mother loves the infant and rewards the infant for every single feeling and impulse it has. The infant laughs. The mother laughs and kisses her and says, good boy or good girl. The infant cries. The mother picks up the child and hugs them and kisses them and says, I love you, it's okay. The infant needs to go potty. Whatever physical sensation they're rewarded. Oh, good for you, you went potty. Oh no, you stubbed your toe. Oh, poor baby. No matter what it is the infant experiences, positive or negative, they are rewarded. And the message is, you have value simply because you had an experience, simply because you had a feeling. You are consciously existing, and for that, I am going to reward you. When that gets internalized, and the child gets beyond 4 or 5 years of age, then when something happens, they can soothe themselves because they know that they are valued simply because they're having an experience. So that's the difference between people. When things don't go their way, they pick themselves up, and no matter what, they just go on with life, and they say, I know who I am, and I know that the universe loves me, and I'm just going to keep going. That person was either taught as a child to love themselves simply because they're having an experience, and or they took responsibility and learned. They grew up and they went, you know what, I realized that the world isn't going to cater to every single one of my desires, that I have to find my own happiness and I have to do what I want, and I found what integrity was and I was going to do that, and then I learned how to give to people unconditionally. So what's the difference between Myrtle and somebody else who goes to the PTA and brings cookies every time, but really honestly does it because they enjoy watching other people be happy? And even though nobody says anything, in fact, this person shows up early and drops off the cookies and doesn't let anybody know that they brought the cookies, and spends time at home making them herself and creating the best and testing out recipes on these people. And so she can get an honest appraisal, and she shows up early, leaves the cookies, and nobody knows it's her. And she's just happy because people are enjoying themselves and they feel good and they leave. And the weird thing is that those people go up to that person, we'll call her Jane, she goes up to Jane and says, hey Jane, I really like hanging out with you. Do you want to get together and have coffee sometime? And people are throwing their numbers at Jane. But Myrtle never gets a phone number. And that's because people know, people can feel. They can feel that you have a victim mentality, that you only want something from other people. You only give things and do things to get something. People can feel it. They can tell. They can feel your anger. They can feel your self-hatred, your insecurity. They don't want to be around it. It's a lower vibrational thing. They don't want to be anywhere near it. People that come up and try and help Myrtle, she says, don't give me that. Don't tell me how to live. I'm fine. People walk up to Jane and say, hey, Jane, I saw you had a problem with this. Would you like some help? And Jane says, yeah, I'm always looking to improve myself. So now we get to the meditation. So the meditation is very simple. You first have to know who you're angry at and what it is you wanted from them. If it's your parents, it's real simple. You wanted your parents to love you. You wanted your parents to see you. You wanted your parents to acknowledge your existence and give value to your existence. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend that broke up with you, cheated on you, same thing. You wanted them to love you. You're angry at the government because you wanted the government to protect you so that they would make the world more affordable and safe, and they didn't do that. So whatever your anger is, whatever your resentment is, Become aware of what it was that you wanted. And then take responsibility for the fact that you have been giving your life force energy to those people that you're angry at. And even to this day, when you repeat in your mind why you're angry at them, you're still giving them your energy, and you're giving them your energy because you want them to give back to you. So your rage is really the last ditch effort of trying to force somebody into giving you something. So take full responsibility for that. Know what it is that you wanted. And then what we're going to do, first, if you need to, if you're watching this after it's been uploaded, pause this and go down and write. Go and, if you want to, look at the fourth step and write down who you're angry at, why, and what it affects. But you can also just write down who you're angry at and what you wanted from them, what you feel you deserve. It's another way of looking at it. If you say, I deserved this, I earned this, that's actually another way of saying I wanted this. So whatever it is you deserved, you earned, you want, write down what that is. And then become aware that that is energy that's now in somebody else. You've put your energy into somebody else. And they're walking away, feeding off of your energy, and sometimes not even realizing it. It's actually not what's happening, but from your perspective, that's how it feels. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back in time. So if it's your parents, you're going to go back to when your mom did something or your dad said something. If it's your ex-girlfriend or your ex-husband, and you remember, the day that they cheated on you, or they left you, or they divorced you, or whatever it was that they did. You're going to remember a time that you remember when they said this and did that, the thing that really angers you, that you keep telling people about. I remember when my wife, she cheated on me and she called me that day and she said, I want you to remember that specific day. And then we're going to do this meditation. It's real simple. First thing that you ought to do is do one of the energy meditations that I teach on this channel. The 90-day challenge, I teach you a bunch of things. You can do it after your 90-day challenge stuff. You do the Hool breath, the Huar breath. If you don't know what those are, you can go on to the playlists on my YouTube page and you can look for the free energy work and meditation. Do something. You can do whatever energy practice you want, but if, for instance, Awakening the Immortals, that's a really good one, because now you're going to be opening up a portal to higher dimensional energy, because it's going to take higher dimensional energy to move past this. So as I've said before, you can't use third dimensional tools to achieve a fifth dimensional experience. So do some of the energy work, whatever it is, meditation, whatever it is, Qigong, whatever. And after you've done as much as you want, but let's say a minimum of 10 minutes. So for example, doing the Hool breath for 10 minutes. Now you're ready. Now you're in a meditative state, and you're going to bring to your mind, if you've written them down, have 3 or 4 things you've written down. I remember when I was 4 years old and my mommy said blah, blah, blah. And you now are going to go back in time. So you're going to bring up to your memory that moment. And this time what you're going to do is you're going to take back your energy. You're going to take back the request, the energetic request, when you wanted somebody. Myrtle puts the cookies down. She's sending an energetic request. Please notice me and make me your friend. You're gonna remember what that energetic request was. And then what you're going to do, very simple, you're going to take the thumb of your, doesn't matter which hand, but let's right now, the right hand, you're going to cover your right nostril. And with your eyes closed, you're going to inhale. And as you inhale, you're going to pull in all of that energy all of that request, that energetic request, you're going to pull it back. You're going to rescind the request. You're going to stop asking your mother to love you and see you for who you are. If she was going to do it, she would have done it by now. She's not going to do it. And by the way, if you're a guy, heterosexual guy, every other woman after that you've dated, you don't realize it, but you're asking your mom through her to love you. You're going to take back that request. It's an energetic request. So you do that, you see it, you inhale, pull back your energy, take your request back. And then you're going to close off the left nostril and you're going to exhale. You're going to release all of the pent-up anger, the pain. If tears start to come, you're going to allow yourself to cry, because what really needs to happen when you get past the anger is you need to mourn. You need to mourn the fact that somebody didn't love you. You wanted them to love you, and it makes you very sad that they didn't. Whatever it is you wanted from them, it's going to make you sad. Maybe you'll feel like crying, maybe you won't. I'm not telling you how to react, but whatever emotions you have, as you exhale, you're going to release them. Forgive them, which means you're going to give them the right to just be whoever they are. All right? So we can do that together. And so if you need to pause this video and come back, go ahead and write down at least one thing. If you have something in mind, most people have something in mind that they can think of. And what we're going to do together just for 3 minutes, just so that we can be doing it together, is we're going to do that. You're going to inhale, take back the request. You're going to exhale and you're going to release that anger, and you're going to release that person. You're no longer going to require anything from them. Okay? So go ahead and bring to mind that one instance. Let's see if I can think of one. See, I've done this so much I can't think of one. Let me try. Okay. All right, I've got one. I've got one in mind now. Okay, so we're going to do this together. We'll turn up the mantra a little bit to help us out. Okay, ready? Put that person in front of you, see that situation. Inhale, take back the request. Exhale, release the anger or the pain. Keep going like that. Okay, one last breath, one last time. Inhale. Hold the breath. Exhale out the right nostril. Now just with your eyes closed, just relax. Feel the energy moving through your body. That extra energy that you feel is your energy that you've been giving away this whole time. Allow that energy, which is self-love. You've given away your self-love, now you've taken it back. Allow that self-love to move through all of the cells in your body, through your blood, your bones, your tissues, your muscles, your nerves. Let that energy come into your heart. This was your heart that you were giving away. And now you're going to let your heart come back and be full of its own experience of loving itself. And as a result of that, now you have more love to give to others unconditionally. Just breathe long and deep in this feeling. Couple more breaths. Okay, and you can rub your face, your neck, your scalp, your body, bring yourself back into your physical body. And if you have any awarenesses, you can write them down. But you can make this a daily practice. If you want to make this your daily meditation, you can. You know, this is something that if you're committed to completely let go of all of those 3D attachments, you can do that. You can do this with anything. You know, people have a strong attachment to money. And as I've said before, money doesn't exist. It literally does not exist. Even when money was a symbol of gold and silver, it still didn't exist, because gold and silver wasn't anything that you could do anything with. You couldn't eat it, you couldn't wear it, you couldn't sleep on it, you couldn't drive it. It didn't solve any survival problems unless somebody believed that it symbolized value. But now we don't even have that. You know, the dollar doesn't represent a dollar's worth of silver or gold or anything else. It doesn't represent anything. It is completely arbitrary. It just doesn't exist anywhere. But people are attached to it. So you can do that. You can think about all of the energy you give towards wanting to have money. Same thing. You can take all of your energy back from money and put that back into yourself. Do that with anything. Money, sex, power, reputation, love, all of that. You can do this meditation for all of that, because the truth is, we do give our energy to people first, but then we give our energy to arbitrary concepts, like the concept of money, the concept of power, the concept of being a worthwhile, valuable person. I can remember when I used to go backpacking in the Sierra Mountains, way back in my mostly my 20s, but my 30s as well. And I would go by myself for at least 2 weeks. And I'd spend 2 weeks by myself in the wilderness, and I wouldn't see another person. I'd just be surrounded by nature. And what would happen is after the 6th day of not, having telephones and television, because we didn't even have internet then, telephones and television and newspapers and other people, what would happen is that my mind would pop open, and then I would realize how ridiculous, all of the things I worried about. I worried about being a good person. I worried about being respectable. If I didn't make X amount of money and have this amount of career, I wasn't a worthwhile person. And I put so much effort into that. And up in the mountains, the trees didn't care, the birds didn't care, the sun, nothing cared how much money I had. It was just about being connected to what I didn't realize was connected to the quantum field, which, nature is one of those windows. So we put so much energy into these concepts, and we expect these concepts to give back to us. And when we don't make the money, and we don't get the power, we don't get the career, we don't get the reputation, we get angry. And it's ridiculous, because who are you angry at? You're angry at the concept of reputation. It's a concept. It's not a person. It can't give you anything. It's just an illusion. Anyway, so you can use this meditation for anything. We'll leave it there for now. I don't see any questions, which is perfectly fine. So I've started, I'm reintroducing something, which is a couple people have responded to with interest, which is askmike.thunderwizard.com. So if you go there, you can ask me any question. And this is designed for people who don't want to commit to either paying for a session or paying for the apprenticeship. You might have a question that you wanted to ask me. You want me to talk about. If you go here and follow the protocols, if you want, you can either ask a private question of me, or you can ask a question, a public question, which means that you videotape 5 minutes or less of you asking me your question. And then I will make a video where I will show people the video of you asking the question, and then I will respond to it. So you can go check that out, askmike.thunderwizard.com. You can even have a half-hour session with me, which I will videotape and put up on the channel. And this way, people have questions they want to ask me directly. And I'll spend the time helping you. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's extremely important that we, not isolate. There's a lot of people trying to do their spiritual thing. Many of you watch my channel and don't have anything else going on. You don't talk to anybody else. You don't have a teacher. You view me as your teacher, but it's a one-way deal where you're just listening to me pontificate. And you're not actually revealing the things that you want to learn. So it's not that it isn't helpful to watch the videos and to follow my advice. And, a lot of people's lives have been turned around because of it. But you'll have far more success and growth in a much more quick time if you have an interaction with somebody who's able to point out to you, where your thinking is, and how you can, how you can really go more deep into your own self-healing and self-awareness. So that's one way to do it, askmike.thunderwizard.com. And of course, if you're really serious about having the energy shift so that you can move into 5D, then do the energy practices. At least do something, even on the free playlist, do something. The Awakening the Immortals is the most powerful thing that you can find online, guaranteed, and I'm giving it away to you for free on this channel. When you're ready to get serious, go here to the 90-day challenge and subscribe. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. And I teach you exactly what to do, and I guarantee you if you follow that, you will shift. If you want the elite energy practice of the most powerful spiritual warriors the planet has ever seen, you can go here to 923.thunderwizard.com. The Maoshan 5-element practices are there, along with every single video teaching package I've ever made. I don't know what I think the end price for all of it originally would have been somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. These things that I teach, it's not because I'm anything special. I've just found the stuff that works. I've spent my whole life devoted to finding practices for my own benefit. And I've only taken the stuff that works and I've synthesized it. And as I've said before, every single person who has worked with me and followed all of my directions consistently, every single one of them, their lives have completely just blossomed and evolved in ways far beyond what I would have expected. There's been people that showed up that I said, oh my God, I can't help this person. And I just give them the same things that I tell everybody else to do. And as long as they do it, their life gets unbelievably better. So please take advantage of whatever's available on this channel, whether it's free or whether it's, the subscriptions. Just do something. And thank you again for allowing me to be a part of your evolution. So with that, I will say goodbye for today. And again, if I don't get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, or if the solar flash don't come, I will see you guys all very soon. Please take very good care of yourselves. Take back your soul. This is another transmission from Mahadeva here at ThunderWizard.com headquarters, where you find the world's only unified spiritual energy system at ThunderWizard.com. Get ready, because here I come.